Hey folks, it's Mark here, just dropping in really quick to explain what this episode is and why it's here. So last week we were unable to record an episode because Chris was unwell, so what we've decided to do is release a split 7-inch. Now for people who are maybe unaware, our split 7 inches are episodes we release to our subscribers only. So this is our very first one that we ever done, that we released to our subscribers way back about a year and a half ago. And if you like what you hear, then please go to unsungpod.net/donate. We hope you enjoy it.
Hi, welcome. Mark, do you want to introduce us?
Nah.
Dave, you're the host. Hi, I'm David.
Hi, I'm David, and welcome to your bonus content. You are receiving this bonus content because you have asked for it. You have paid for it. I don't know why you're getting this.
Yeah. You're in the Billionaires Club, that's what it's called.
I mean, I could be going home and having my Waitrose mac and cheese, vegan mac and cheese right now, but I'm staying for an extra 20 minutes because you, listener, have begged me to do this.
We're doing this guy a favour.
We're doing you guys a favour.
Whoever you might be.
So this is the first unsung split 7-inch where, a bit like the Christmas episodes, but one chunk at a time, we're going to each answer a question. And the question, or the challenge this time around, is of the artists that have been nominated, can you pick an album by them that, far from being an unsung classic, was an absolute howler? So that is the challenge that we sort of threw down to ourselves, but we're going to encourage you guys
to... An abhorrent mess.
Yeah. We're going to encourage you guys to submit those, and we'll do these split 7 inches maybe once a month, something like that, to try and give a kind of regular bonus content.
You are our most engaged listeners, so that's a goddamn fact.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thank you.
You allow me to buy mac and cheese from Waitrose rather than from Tesco, so keep it going. Thanks.
What's wrong with Marshalls, mate? So who wants to go first?
Chris.
I'll go first. Right, I was a wee bit torn. So neither of mine come from a normal episode. They both come from one was a Christmas special.
Fucking bending the rules already.
No, it was your rule. You guys get to rule what one you think is worse, right? So in the Christmas special I mentioned in Rainbows by Radiohead, there's going to be more of that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it seems like bad form to nominate Radiohead for a fucking Howler album award, but
they have a few though.
So this is the thing. I think Pablo Honey is one of the most wretched fucking alternative Brit rock albums maybe ever.
I mean, it is bad. But I mean, it's universally recognised as bad.
They still play fucking Creep. It's just...
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They stopped playing it for a long time. I don't think they play anymore. Do they still play it?
No, I think they played it quite recently.
The fucking Pyramid Stage thing at Glastonbury, yeah.
That fucking sellouts.
I mean, that... It's super forgettable, right? It's super forgettable. That the first track, that You, was alright, and he shows off his voice and shit, and that's where Muse came from, basically. But fuck me, I fucking hate the song Creep. I fucking hate it. It's a high school song.
So fucking special, but I'm a creep.
And
yeah.
Then
obviously
that Stop Whispering, Start Shouting tune. And the thing about this album that killed me as well is that song Anyone Can Play Guitar, where what is it? If the world turns and London burns, I'll be standing on the beach with my guitar. Line is to this day probably one of the worst lyrics I've ever heard.
I
and then the whole album just degenerates into this beige and Brit rock mess. The thing is about Creep, I can kind of forgive them because it was so early in their career. What the fuck is the deal with Moonshaped Pool? Why did Radiohead release Moonshaped Pool?
I haven't heard it because I've stopped caring about the career since In Rainbows.
So the first track in it is a song called Burn the Witch, which is fine actually. It's a pretty decent song, and it would have been on Hail to the Thief, and it would have been like, that's a pretty fucking decent little tune. It's quite cool. They brought it out with a video that everybody thought was really, I don't know, like subversive, because it was like, was it Plimpton or Plump?
Yeah, like one of those 70s kids shows.
Kids 70s show thing with this music over it. And it absolutely wasn't. It just didn't fit the music. It just was just really crap. Then it just goes into this like mulch of like completely beige Radiohead light sort of outtakes. There's a second disc that comes out in Rainbows, which is like outtakes and stuff, and it's better than this album by some measure. The only thing that saves this album, other than that first tune, which is, it's alright, the only thing that saves us from the bin is the fifth track, which is called Full Stop, full with one L, which is a brilliant song, and it's all the more infuriating that there is such a brilliant song on this album.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not their best work. I really like Daydreaming though, the second track, that piano one. Really nice.
So dull.
No, I think it's really,
that was a single,
wasn't it? Pared back.
Was that a single, or it was like some kind of promo thing? It's fucking.
Nah, it's what's that one off In Rainbows with the piano? Kind of that sort of vibe.
There's nothing off In Rainbows that's anything near as boring as this record.
I'm actually yawning thinking about it.
I think it's an average record. It's not a total clanger though. I don't think it's a shiter.
I think Full Stop makes it look more of a clanger, because Full Stop is so good that I think it just arrives, and it arrives fifth, and you're like, what the fuck is this doing here?
Videotape, that's the one I'm thinking of.
That's a nice song though.
No, but I think Daydreaming's got that sort of very stripped back thing to it.
Videotape's really got such a nice melody. But it's.
Look, I'm not saying it's a good album. It's definitely not a good Radiohead album, but I don't think it's a total shiter. I think A Moonshaped Pool stands culturally so many heads and shoulders above the album I'm about to put forward.
Right. Okay, I agree. So that was it. I couldn't decide whether or not I hated Pablo Honey more because it's so or whether I hated Moonshaped Pool, because Moonshaped Pool to me was so disappointing and yet received so unanimously. Oh my god, it's Radiohead have brought out an album, and you're like, there's one tune in this album, maybe two at a push, and that pisses me off because I like Radiohead and they just weren't fucking trying. Anyway, I cannot wait to find out what counts as a bad record for Dave. You know it's bad.
I know, I'm just a very forgiving person, aren't I?
The anticipation is killing me.
So I looked through it and I was like, do you know what, Venetian Snares has some average records because just through a law of, the mass amount of music.
Not offensively bad.
But not offensively bad. Totally although he has also gone out there to try and make offensively bad music, but in its own way, it's very impressive. Yeah. But I mean, what really stood out, first of all, was Iron Maiden's 90s output.
Was that the one, the Virtual 11 or whatever it is?
Well, there was the two with Blaze Bayley. And then also the last one, Fear of the Dark with Bruce Dickinson before he left. Those three records are all absolutely fucking
I
rancid.
seem to recall having a really fun time listening to them when we did that
so
episode.
bad, so
Fear
bad.
the Dark's a really good song, but it's so much better live. But everything
Yeah,
else,
the production on that record is fucking shit. And then the
everything's garbage. Yeah,
but then they came back with Brave New World when Bruce came back, and then they were good again. But no, none of them.
What could possibly
be worse than Iron Maiden's 90s output? It's Korn.
away?
yeah, that's a fright.
Right. First, I nearly put forward Untouchables, right? Because that was, to this day, the biggest disappointment in my life. Because Korn Issues, as I put forward in our new metal
You're a Ross
mixtape,
County fan.
is a fucking great record, and I wouldn't have anything heard against it. Untouchables cost $3 million to make. It was the most expensive album at the time to be released. It was obviously released before Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy, and the first song that came out was that one, Here to Stay. Which is actually really good.
I'm here to stay.
And it sounds like a mix of Mortician, proper like doomy sludge. And Faith No More. And it's actually a really good track. It's got like the good beat. I was so excited for that album. Hearing that record,
Can I ask you something?
hearing that single.
When did Aaliyah die?
2001, I think, 2002.
Did she live to see this album? Because she was. You remember that from that episode? She was really into Korn.
I think it's came out in 2003, maybe.
Yeah, it did, because I got it on the same day as I went to march against the war in Iraq in Inverness.
Oh,
I
wow.
bought it, and this album is
Rough
more
day.
disappointing
the Iraq
than the Iraq war.
Maybe not for the Iraqis.
Look, the album cover in itself is just one of the worst album covers I've ever seen. It's so brown and shit.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But anyway,
isn't
that
it?
record's so bad, but it's not as bad as Korn, The Path of Totality from 2011, because
Are they trying to be
Korn and
political?
Skrillex.
what happened was Korn did a few albums after Untouchables. They were all pretty shit, average, blah, blah, blah. And then in 2011, they thought the cool thing to do would be to enlist dubstep producers, because dubstep was cool, guys. I'm not sure if you remember 2011, but dubstep was cool because it had come up as like this sort of subgenre from grime in London. And I remember hearing this guy called DJ Distance on Giles Peterson in 2005, and it did this weird long ambient track called Taipan. And it had some guitar in it that sounded like Pantera, but it was like really weird and beautiful. And I was like, this genre,
It's the future.
there's so much future in this genre. Then what happened was Skrillex happened.
Yes! Oh my god!
And it became a joke of a genre. It was fucking horrible. All
Pendulum.
these, yeah, and like all these producers just trying to like drop, build up, drop, and it was like the start of EDM and this fucking horrendous dance music bullshit that we have now. That is the complete opposite of good electronic dance music. So Korn decided to jump on that bandwagon after it had become advert soundtrack bullshit.
But there is a method to their madness, because that's that weird thing where goths love dubstep. Like,
Oh, yeah, because-
they fucking love that stuff, and it's like you know all those videos of them dancing under bridges and stuff. It's like it's this weird crossover between.
It's not weird
that's a
though.
subculture.
It's not weird though, because there's no doubt that dubstep was the emergence of like a new type of heavy. The whole thing
Exactly.
was like finding that drop, finding that sub bass, finding that riff. Like a lot of dubstep riffs are basically just like doom riffs or
Yeah.
metal riffs, but on a synth. But the thing is, it dated so much, and like already now, nobody fucking listens to dubstep. Nobody makes dubstep anymore because it's fucking shit. It became so shit. People have obviously taken that dubstep influence and turned it into shit EDM and blah blah blah. But you know, no artist of legitimacy is making dubstep now.
Any standout tracks?
So yeah, like it's just. But what's weird is like Korn are ostensibly a heavy band. Dubstep is this new heavy sort of music,
Yeah.
and then they enlisted Skrillex, Noisa, Excision, all these like well-known producers, and they made the least heavy record ever. It's like somehow it's just like completely cancels each other out.
Amazing.
And it just sounds like shit video game soundtrack music.
I really want to hear it now.
Oh, it's fucking bad. Like it's all really samey. There's no dynamic. Dubstep producers aren't exactly famed for their subtlety. This isn't like fucking Burial. This is fucking Skrillex. Every single track is just the same dynamic, the same audio compression. It's fucking shit.
Is there a kind of political theme in it, given the path of totality thing? Is that
That humanity has failed.
Jonathan Davis is a fucking crackpot, man. I mean, like, to him, he would probably be motivated to write a political record when Obama got elected. That's the kind of fucking Looney Tune that he is.
You know, the thing is, like, after the first 4 albums, going into the 2000s, Korn created a lot of shit. They should not have continued.
I refuse to believe it.
But at least those other albums are just shit, right? This is shit from an exact era. This is like carbon dated Jobby. It's like they know, you listen to it and you're like, I know that month when that was popular, and oh, it's fucking awful. And you know what? Korn were my favourite band as a teenager. I never saw them live because I lived in the Highlands of Scotland. I saw Korn live once, and it was on this fucking tour in 2011. Fieldy had glow-in-the-dark bass strings. They played their first half. They played with a producer and a mixer, and they did like a dubstep half, and then they went off and they came back and they did a proper half. It was dreadful. Anyway, that's so, yeah. But Moonshaped Pool is fine, isn't it?
So I was kind of torn between 2 AFI records, Burials and Crash Love.
Fuck you. Fucking Burials by AFI. You just doing this to spite me, because it's the only record that stood out for their whole fucking catalogue. Obviously. It's a great record. Well, it's not a great record, but it's got 4 or 5 great songs in it.
But I went for Crash Love because it is a nothing of an album.
Fucking right you did.
It has one good song on it, which is Medicate, which was the lead single. Because it's got a really weird guitar solo, which I fucking love. The rest of it just doesn't really, it's just not there. It's just pure bland as fuck.
Where was it in there?
So it came after December Underground, so it's 2009.
Pretty big at that point, though, right?
Yeah, so it's weird because they're coming off the back of, you know, that whole kind of emo kind of movement, which was happening with My Chemical Romance and all that.
Aiden.
Aiden, yeah. And Aiden were obviously quite indebted to AFI in a huge way, sadly.
Any other sexual predators?
Yeah.
Plenty.
There's
Yeah.
loads.
Do a playlist.
But there's another single on this record called
That'd actually be a good playlist as well. That's a sad bit.
The Pedo 20.
there's a single on it called Beautiful Thieves, which basically sounds like them trying to be 30 Seconds to Mars. That's what this record kind of feels like. It kind of feels like they're trying
damning indictment,
trying to be 30 Seconds to Mars. That's what it sounds like to me. And it's also, another thing that's really damning about it is CV Deluxe Edition. The 4 deluxe tracks at the end are all from the December Underground. There's 2 demos from Crash Love and there's one from Ting of Sorrow, and those 4 songs, which are unproduced, are miles better than anything on the record. Like by a good long way.
I cannot fucking believe you even swung close to nominating Burials.
It's because it just feels like a misfire, although I do like the vibe of it in terms of trying to do something a bit more different. This is them kind of going in themselves a wee bit. Like December Underground feels like they're trying to incorporate more electronic and industrial elements, and it doesn't really go that well for them, and they kind of go back to basics with this in terms of like going straight back to guitars and not fucking about with electronics as much, but they're also trying to just be like a rock band, which they weren't really good at in the first place.
Why would you even consider Burials? So it's got so many, like it's got a bunch of
Burials
really...
becomes like the synth pop record though, right?
Yeah, but it's got great songs in it.
It's got more good songs in it than Crash Off, which is why I went with Crash
It's got
Off.
more good songs in it than any of their other albums, in my opinion, anyway.
I don't think that's true.
That song, like, I mean, this will be the 5th show where I've mentioned the song, but Greater Than 84 is their best tune. It is fucking brilliant.
It's got that, and it's also got 17 Crimes, which is great.
Which is excellent.
Yeah.
It's I mean, you're an idiot.
Can I just want to interject here, because we can do this because this is cash. But have you guys heard "Bring Me the Horizon" lately?
Yes.
No.
I've heard them on Radio 1.
Do you know what? I saw them live by accident.
So when they started, that first record sounded like Dillinger Escape Plan by a band that couldn't play their instruments.
Yeah,
right?
they were a joke back then.
Yeah, like they literally just couldn't play, but they were trying to do, mathcore, and then they started all, high produced metal stuff.
If I sing alone, a little fucking louder to a happy song, I'll be alright.
But there was these 2 punks and sleazies on Monday when I was DJing the Massive Attack
After show, inverted commas.
And they were brother and sister apparently. Like he kept coming up and going, "Oh, this is my sister," and they're like they're. So she asked for a "Bring Me to the Horizon" song. I was like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that because you both look like you like Crass or whatever." But I was like, "Oh," so I queued it up and listened to it. It sounds like Avicii. It was like, oh, they've gone like full. It just sounded like a pop song, like exactly like that template, and there was like no metal in it at all.
Death blow, look at you go. Brought a T62 to a rodeo. So told, it broke the 4th wall. Guess my fairy tale has a few plot holes, but I'm looking on the bright side now.
And at least I thought like the album before was at least being like power metal, like big choruses, what Lost Prophets tried to be or whatever. But they've just turned into a pop band. It sounded like a Taylor Swift song. It's really odd.
I felt like that when I checked back in the 1975 after everybody talking about them, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because when I first heard them, I made fun of them because they just sounded like NXS. Now they just, I mean, it's like there's nothing even there. It's just...
It's funny when, just the bands suddenly decide, oh, we'll go to the template, we'll get the writers in, and it sounds so bad. Yeah. But obviously, they'll get big and famous off it.
Another record under consideration for this, and I need to put out there that the only reason that I would have picked this record is because it's when the band really fell off the deep end. But Black Holes and Revelations by Muse. Now they've undoubtedly done worse stuff since this record, right? But this is the last one I actually listened to entirely.
Muse? When did we nominate Muse?
It was Christmas special.
The Christmas. So I'd say Ocean Symmetry, and it's got no good songs on it at all, and everything afterwards is just like completely downhill. Like the Resistance and all that, it's fucking awful. But that kind of isn't so much a howler as it is the pre-howler to what would be the career ever since.
We've birthed a good few ideas.
Yeah, it's a pre-howler is the step towards utter stadium dominance, but also complete fucking gruel.
I think
there was no way back.
I think the only other thing I was thinking about doing was Hole, because obviously I nominated Live Through This. I don't think a band in the space of only 4 albums has had a more fucking disastrous trajectory than Hole, because Celebrity Skin is way overproduced, horribly slick. It's Courtney Love's Bad Side coming out, where they got rid of Patty Schemmel and got this fucking session guy in to do the whole drum thing all again. It's in that documentary Hit So Hard. It is a great documentary, by the way, really interesting. And then for that Nobody's Daughter album, the 4th one, which was basically a Courtney Love album, but her previous solo album had flopped, so she thought, damn it, I'll tag it on to the whole catalogue, and it is abysmal. Grotesque, empty, tries to emulate Hole at various places, it is just a horrible photocopy of itself. I would maybe have done them, but the thing that really stood out when I considered them was, holy shit, they only had 4 albums and they went like that. It is dire. There is a song in Celebrity Skin though called Boys on the Radio, which I don't think it was a single, and it is fucking excellent. Really, really good song. It has like 4 choruses. Another terrible
album by an artist that we've nominated would be Animal Rights by Moby.
Dick. I mean, to be fair, there's not that album, but there's a lot of really terrible albums, really beige albums by Moby that could have picked. That seemed like shooting fish in a barrel.
There's a couple of early Depeche Mode albums which are rotten as well.
It's the same with Talk Talk, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The whole point of Talk Talk was their first few records were pretty shit, but nothing comes close to Path of Totality.
I don't think anything we've ever done or any band we've covered so far comes close to that.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
It hit a new low in a 6-album
descent.
I think there were 5 records in a row that were fucking awful, but even this one stood out as like a new trough. It was the Mariana Trench.
Next thing you know, he's on the ocean. Next thing you know, Jonathan Davis is on InfoWars in his car filming from like waist high because he thinks people are watching him, telling Alex Jones about how he's got secret information on the New World Order's conspiracy. He's a fucking goon.
Is that actually true?
Yes.
I thought you just made that up. That's fucking wild.
Totally true. He did an interview with Alex Jones. Alex Jones was speaking to him about gun rights, and Jonathan Davis is a big gun advocate, and he films the thing from down near the gear stick, so it's up the way up his nose the whole time, and he's like, why are you doing that? He's like, 'cause I think they're watching me and I don't want them to know. It's just mental.
Well, when we think about the raping of our privacy, I mean, it's beyond 1984.
Oh, it is, dude. They're everywhere. I mean, look at it. Big Brother's alive and well. I mean, you're looking at me on my camera phone. I mean, it wasn't about putting up cameras. I think we already got the cameras everywhere. You can't tell me that there's no back doors for everybody to see. You know, the powers that be can see what we're doing and watch what we're doing at all times. I'm not comfortable with that, and I think it needs to go. They're getting ready. They're building that huge-ass building. The NSA is for all the spying, and it's just going to get worse and worse. And I mean, it's scary times, brother.
That's right, and it's totally illegal as well, but they're just doing it.
So, yeah, that was on the cards.
Drugs.
Anyway, so thanks for listening.
Thanks for paying.
Dear voters.
Thanks for your money.
Yeah.
We'll do more of these. Please give us some suggestions.
But you should also go vote for this.
Nah, don't go do that. Just comment on it.
Yeah, just tell us what you liked and what you didn't like, and if you want to hear more of it, and if you don't want to hear more of it, then Fuck you.
Comment on it and give us some questions, please.
Yes.
And we'll try and get
Yeah, suggestions as well of terrible records.
Buenas noches.
We send you our love.
Thanks. Okay, bye.